Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
When the hunt matters, trust the gear that's built to perform. At Scree Gear, we design premium hunting apparel that keeps you comfortable, concealed, and ready for whatever the mountain throws your way. From early season spot and stalk hunts to late season extremes, Scree Gear is trusted by hunters who refuse to compromise. And if you want to sharpen your skills and follow real hunting adventures, watch Scree TV on Waypoint TV. Visit ScreeGear.com to gear up today. Then catch Scree TV on Waypoint TV and experience the hunt like never before.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass podcast with Kevin and Chuck. Today we're going to talk about trauma. Trauma, I guess in the prepping survival community, you hear a lot of talk about first aid, fish antibiotics, having Motrin, Band-Aids. You hear them say, my Israeli bandage, and quick clot I hear are thrown about a lot. One, I really wanted to focus on the true trauma, like in an emergency kind of thing. You come up on a car accident, you get shot in the leg, the ugly things. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of that, and not so much the general first aid, whatever, but the immediate, quick reaction, what can we do, and how to deal with it when it happens. Mm-hmm. One of the things, as preppers, you imagine in the apocalypse, I might end up in a gunfight. All the prepper movies or the books, they all have like shootouts with, rogue militias or zombies coming after you, or I guess zombies aren't shooting at you, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe whatever. You need to tourniquet that leg so that zombie infection doesn't come up, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever, something like that. One of the things that, preppers and survivalists are doing a lot is playing with guns and playing with knives. Now, speaking of knives, did we not just get a package in the mail today?
We did from one of our listeners.
Let's talk about that quick before we get into this.
Well, we sent him out a SOG Jungle Primitive.
All right, so that's the knife we gave away. That's kind of an impressive knife.
It is. He retrofitted it though, made it even better.
Okay,
if that's a thing. He refitted the handle. It's beautiful. It's black walnut, which is beautiful.
That's a sturdy wood there.
Yeah, beautiful wood. It's triple pinned, which holds it together really well. It's gonna
solid
hold up to it. Yep. He has a nice barbed wire inlay that he has on the handle, which is really beautiful work.
Nice. So we're gonna put some pictures of this up on the podcast.
Yeah.
Or on the Facebook.
Yep. He also retrofitted made a brand new sheath for it.
Sheath from scratch, right?
Which is beautiful, sturdy leather, great work. It's beautiful work. It's got a nice lanyard with paracord on it, and
some skulls on there.
The appropriate amount of skulls for the Badass podcast.
That's what I really look for.
Really like it. He went a little bit heavy with the skulls, and I love that. That's right up my alley.
I don't think you can have too many skulls, is what I've been saying.
So, he really did beautiful work with this.
Nice pouch. That's, you throw some extra, maybe a sharpening stone in there. And
it's really, really beautiful stuff. So we'll put some pictures on the on the Facebook.
He does work, so if anybody else, our listeners might have a knife.
Yeah.
They could get something done like that?
Yeah, if you send in a knife, I think what he does is basically takes knives and then refits them,
Nice.
Builds a handle around them, better handle, gets rid of the old plastic or the polyurethane handles. And the sheath really is beautiful work. So
Nice.
go to our Facebook page, check out the pictures.
Got some links, or you can check him out. He's got a Facebook group if you search Spain Eye Blades.
Spain Eye Blades, right.
And it's SPANI.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's under groups. I know he's got an Instagram page. I'll throw some links to that stuff in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, hey, throw a shout out. You guys want to take care of us, we're going to look out and take care of you.
Yeah, it was good.
So that's
really
pretty
nice
cool,
work.
man. Thank you. We're really excited about that. So, back to cutting our fingers off.
Mm-hmm. Which
That's
I may
the
do
kind
with
of
this
thing.
knife here.
That's a real possibility, right?
Right.
And that's what I was thinking about, and it's, I'm not sure people are really putting in the time. I'm not sure people are putting in the time with prepping at all that they should be. I guess what I'm worried about is, like, everybody buys the cool guns, and, a lot of people have multiple handguns, multiple, AR-15s or an AK-47, all kinds of cool stuff. But it's actually putting the time in, getting out on the range and learning how to use it. And you're like, wait, Chuck, you're getting off task. Well, I am, but I'm going to say it's the same thing with first aid. You know what? You guys really got to learn how to deal with it. When things come up, people just panic. I actually, I mentioned back a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I went and did some training, and we were watching videos, and policemen, trained police officers, they're out there and their buddy gets shot, and they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to point the gun at the bad guys and stand here while my buddy is bleeding on the ground, because they're not putting enough time in on the training.
Right.
And I don't necessarily blame the policeman, although I got to say, if that's your job, if your police force,
right?
If your police department isn't doing the training, I feel you kind of have an obligation to get that training on your own.
Right.
That's me, and some people want to do the bare minimum at their job, and that's, if that's how you want to be, whatever. But that's what I'm getting at is, we need, if we're going to talk the talk, and especially if we're going to live this dangerous lifestyle where we are playing with axes, guns, knives, all kinds of cool stuff, if we're going to be out there doing it, I think you should put a little time in thinking about, hey, how am I going to react? How do I deal with these things? And there is some good resources online, although I got to say it was less than I thought I'd find.
Yeah.
I did not really see everything I wanted to see. I was actually a little disappointed. But, hopefully the stuff I tell you, I can talk you through it. And, I'm going to try, and me and Kevin, sometime later this summer, we're going to try and get some videos out and maybe have some medical training. And maybe you even seek out some medical training. I know a lot of the local fire departments have their EMT training and different stuff available. Now, mind you, they're encouraging you to come be an EMT. Well, I don't think that's wrong.
Yeah. First aid, Red Cross does some great first aid courses. They're very inexpensive.
Okay.
You can do it, I think it's usually like 3 hour, nights in a week. You can get it knocked out real quick. And it's, it's basic stuff, put pressure on wounds and CPR and basic stuff like that. But even a basic understanding of first aid is better than no understanding.
But I mean, I'm hoping that in this episode, I'm actually going to be able to talk you guys through it where it kind of makes sense and you understand where I'm coming from of, how to treat somebody. At first you kind of want to blow it off and think, oh, I already know I did first aid in Boy Scouts, or,
right.
I got a little training in the military. And you know what? Maybe some of the special forces guys and whatever got some good training. But I know a lot of us in the military didn't get good training.
No, I definitely didn't in the military.
I didn't in the military. I ended up learning stuff later on, and I feel like, I'm disappointed with that. So I have like a couple examples just kind of get your head in the right place. Like, I don't know, you come up on a car accident and you see, the married couple that, were married 60 years and the wife's in the passenger seat, pinned and bleeding to death, and the husband's there, and I just don't want to be the guy that's helpless. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, a husband and the wife, you know, they're coming out of the movie theater, and a car comes along and smacks them on the side of the road, and, you know, and they're on the ground bleeding. I don't want to see people die like that. And then your family, like your own, you know, wife and kids, and what if something happens? You know, what if a tree falls and you know, snags somebody's arm and does real damage because you panic and don't react? I don't want something bad to happen. You know, I don't want something bad to my family.
Right.
You know, those are the kind of things. I just kind of wanted to put something personal to it, just, you know, so you get an idea. It matters, you know?
Yeah. And I've been in those situations before.
And you don't want to feel helpless.
Yeah. And there are people that I've been with that I consider competent people that just panic. You know, they don't know what to do. They're running this way, then they turn around, running the other way.
Exactly. Basically, one of the stories that come to mind when I was a kid, I mean, probably 17 years old, 18 years old. I'm over at a friend's house, and there was maybe two 10-year-olds having a sleepover. I was there with my buddy, and my buddy's parents were there. And kid eating steak, we're eating dinner, nice, normal, happy time. Kid starts choking on the piece of steak. And it happens, whatever. But he's choking and can't breathe. And I honestly, as a 17-year-old, I'm like, all right, I'm going to let the man of the house handle this.
Yeah.
And he just stands there like, and nothing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? All these people here and nobody, nothing?
Yeah.
And, you know, right away I jump in and give the kid the Heimlich. Food comes shooting out. Actually, it was a little kid. And it was back at the time where they kept talking about you breaking their sternum or whatever, the little bone there. And I was kind of paranoid about it. So I was like, you know, they say with the little kids, you can hit them on the back and you hit them in the right spot. I was like, I'm going to start there, and then I'll do the Heimlich if that doesn't work, you know? And I hit him, and sure enough, the food goes shooting across the room. But my point is, I mean, you know, the kid ended up being fine and whatever. And that's why I didn't, like, super panic, because I'm like, all right, you got a couple minutes, you know, and no oxygen before it's a big deal. But the adult didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, how do you not react? And there's so many people like that. But like I said, in these training videos, the cop just standing there while his buddy's bleeding out the neck.
Yeah.
You know, are you kidding me? It doesn't make sense. Now, I guess I'm going to get right into it and kind of take you guys through. There's a new one that the military's pushing. A lot of the SWAT guys are pushing. And it's called the M.A.R.C.H assessment.
Okay.
And it's basically, you know, an acronym. So when you show up on a scene, you kind of go through the checklist in your head of how I'm going to kind of get through this and handle it.
Right.
Like I said, the SWAT guys are teaching it. Some of the special forces guys are going through it. You know, different stuff like that. So I think we're going to start there. And I'll talk about what you need in like a trauma bag and different things you should kind of carry in your everyday. But, you know, whatever. Let's just kind of jump into it. So, M.A.R.C.H, somehow M stands for bleeding, because that's logical.
Okay.
Right? Doesn't that make sense? Bleeding, M, sure. Well, what they get around that with massive hemorrhage.
Oh, massive.
Yeah,
okay.
Massive hemorrhage. Because, you know, that's the same thing as bleeding, right? So when you show up on a scene, the first thing you want to look for, and, you know, all the examples I saw, they're like, oh, somebody got hit by a car, and you see them flung out in the road. It doesn't matter. Anytime you go up, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to kind of look around for security kind of thing.
Right.
Like,
You
all
don't
right,
wanna
oh,
get
are there
hurt the
power
same way they
lines
did,
shooting? Right. Are there power lines whipping on the ground right next to this guy? That may be something I need to deal with. Is there somebody shooting out of the window of the house right next to me? That may be something I have to address before I can deal with the guy on the ground.
Right.
Or like you said, I'm going to end up being that guy on the ground. And it may be just dragging the guy while somebody lays down cover fire. It may be taking a board and pushing away the power lines or doing something like that. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say it may be waiting for the electric company to come shut the power lines off. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you're smart enough to figure out a way to do it without waiting. But, don't get dead. Mm-hmm. All right, so security, that kind of thing. Then kind of, if you're in the road, that was the other thing I was thinking of. Right. If you're a car accident and there's other cars whipping around, all right, do we have a vehicle we can kind of block the oncoming traffic or get people to, at a distance where we're not going to die? I've actually been where I was assisting people in a car accident and other cars come and smack into it while you're there doing it. Right. That really happens. Mm-hmm. So, people don't pay attention, especially, and that was before everybody was texting. Yeah, that was before all that nonsense. So, all right, secure the area is the first thing. Make sure you're not going to die. All right, then you want to walk up and, like I said, massive hemorrhage. So we're looking for bleeding. Do I see any obvious blood coming out that looks like a life-threatening wound? Right? I'm not worried about little scratches on the face or whatever. I'm talking about blood squirting out or anything that looks like a massive bleed. Mm-hmm. All right? Obviously, if I see it, that's where I'm going to go, and I'm going to jump right there. But we're going to assume for this that we don't see anything. We don't know. The guy's just laying on the ground.
Okay.
We're going to check it anyway. Mm-hmm. So what you're going to do, you're going to go up. It's got 4 extremities, your legs and your arms, right? You're going to take your hands and you're going to completely encircle his leg from the upper thigh closest to you. Mm. And you're going to go from that thigh, rubbing all the way down his leg, feeling for wetness, right down to the ankle. And, a lot of these guys have like the tactical pants and stuff like that if you're in a combat kind of world. You might want to feel around their sock and their foot because sometimes the blood isn't coming through. Mm-hmm. But then you'll feel it dripping down their leg kind of thing if it's a serious bleed, right?
Right.
So, all right, so you're going to look for anything there. You're going to reach over. You're going to go to the next leg. You're going to run down it, feel for anything. And then a shoulder, then the other shoulder. You're going to check all the extremities, right? You can see the head. There's nothing there. So, all right, now we'll say, all right, we found something. There's some bleeding in the calf. Looks like there's a gunshot wound in the back of his calf. And so, logical, we're going to do a tourniquet. All right? Now, tourniquets have changed from when I was in Boy Scouts. In Boy Scouts, it was kind of a given thing that if you put a tourniquet on something, that limb's gone.
Right.
It's going to fall off and die. Mm-hmm. That's, how it's going to play.
Right, you have to be bleeding so bad.
Right. They were like, oh, it's a big deal, don't do a tourniquet. Turns out, not true at all. As long as the tourniquet you're using is over 1 inch thick.
Okay.
It's got to be an inch wide. So think a seatbelt, that's probably like 2 inches wide, right? Mm-hmm. Seatbelt makes a great tourniquet. Obviously, you can buy tourniquets, and I'm going to recommend you have a trauma bag and have some tourniquets in there. I'm going to tell you about what to buy and whatever. But as long as it's an inch thick, the general consensus in the medical community is you can actually have that tourniquet on for 6 hours with no problem.
Okay.
Now, again, because you were worried about people losing that limb and with the tourniquets, they used to do it just above the wound.
Okay.
You'd get shot in the calf, you'd do it like right below the kneecap, Mm-hmm. Not anymore. You want to go right as high as you can go on the thigh as you possibly can and tourniquet it off. Now, they actually recommend that you do 2 tourniquets back to back, right next to each other.
Okay.
But again, they have to be at least an inch thick.
Okay.
So find something an inch thick,
Right.
Make the effort and you can make this happen. But cutting seatbelts out of car is honestly, if you got to freaking cut their pants off and make it out of jeans, you cut some strips and you do what you have to do. Mm-hmm. But that's your first priority. So now suppose you see obvious bleeding. Oh, he's got a gunshot wound in the hip. And you're like, I can't tourniquet the hip. Mm-hmm. So, all right, that's where this, the quick clot gauze, you're going to actually unravel the quick clot gauze. You're going to take your finger and you're going to push it in the hole, and you're going to feel around with the little gauze on your fingertip.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'd prefer you were wearing gloves. I'd prefer you had clean hands at this point.
Right.
And honestly, if you got the quick clot gauze, then you have the gloves. And you have that, because I'm going to tell you about the trauma bag. And if you can't freaking put some rubber gloves that cost like 5 cents along with your $30 quick clot gauze, then you're an idiot.
Right.
All right? So what I want you to do is you're going to take the quick clot gauze, you're going to feel around for where it's leaking.
Okay.
You will actually, we did this too, you'll feel around for the vein and feel the pressure. You're going to push right against it and hold it there for 2 minutes. 2 minutes will give the gauze, well, you're going to feel the pressure. You're going to start packing the gauze on it.
Okay.
And build it up, and then hold the pressure for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, suppose I only have gauze. Suppose I only have a T-shirt. Well, obviously, then I'm going to wrap something to put pressure on it. Maybe have a bystander stand there and hold the pressure on it.
Mm-hmm.
But believe it or not, the quick clot gauze will actually stop it if you can keep it there for the 2 minutes.
Okay.
And throw in an Israeli bandage or something around it, that's awesome. Do that, that's great. But the bottom line, get the pressure, minimum 2 minutes, and then we move on. So, and then obviously you're going to keep feeling the rest of the extremities.
Right. One injury doesn't mean that there's not a second
right.
injury.
Now you're going to do all 4 legs. We haven't really gotten to the body aside of obvious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you see obvious blood on the body or back, then you're going to go ahead and do that. So at that point, you're going to, and we felt front and back when we did the legs and the arms. Next thing, we're going to worry about air. See, M.A.R.C.H, M.A.
Ah, gotcha.
Airway. Now, one thing you're going to think about the obvious, has there been neck trauma? All right? Did this guy just crash through a windshield? Mm-hmm. Did this guy fall off a scaffolding? Did he, the obvious things. If you don't have reason to suspect it, you just want to kind of grab the head, still gently, and tip it back.
Right.
And you're going to open it up, and you're going to kind of look for, air coming in and out of his mouth.
Yeah, and when you tilt it back, tilt it all the way back. Just a little bit is not always enough.
You need
want,
the angle.
If he's laying flat on the ground, you want the crown of his head touching the ground.
Now, if you do suspect neck injury, you got to be a little more careful.
Right.
What you're going to do, you're going to take both hands, get behind their head, and you're going to push up on their jaw. You grab the jawbone with your thumbs.
Right.
And you can tilt their mouth right open and do it that way. Now, suppose you don't feel any air coming out. Nothing. Now, I got to say, opening the mouth actually does a lot. Unclogging and opening up things. Next, you want to tilt the head to the side and kind of hope that any obstruction comes out. They actually, believe it or not, are really recommending you don't stick your finger in there anymore. Yeah. You can get your finger bit off. It really happens. Mm-hmm. That's not cool, it turns out.
Yeah, I've never wanted that to happen to me.
Don't stick your finger in their mouth. It's not a cool idea. Believe it or not, most guys who are EMTs and that kind of stuff, they're not even carrying around those face masks anymore. They just go right to the bag. Like there's a little bag with a pump.
Yep.
And they do that. It's very rare you're going to see somebody CPR. And I got to say, anybody who's done CPR in real life knows that there's a good chance somebody's going to throw up in your mouth.
Throw up in your mouth, yeah.
It happens. And hepatitis, it's real.
Yeah. I've had to give somebody CPR before.
You were a bit of a lifeguard and some kind of life savings.
Yeah, well, this was a fall
this
situation.
was heroin addict? Oh,
no.
Oh, okay.
But, the thing with CPR is, well, it used to be 10 and 2. 10 chest compressions and two breaths. 2 breaths.
Right.
Not the case anymore. Now it's 30 chest compressions. So if you took a class a long time ago, it's changed.
Times changed.
Yeah. Really, they say with the breathing, it's not anywhere as important as keeping the blood moving.
Yes.
So,
really, you just, when we say check airway, we mean make sure it's clear.
Right.
Make sure they're opening is clear.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be huge, crucial. And then the rest of it, we can kind of let this go. Like I said, it depends. You have your family member, your wife's there dying, your kid's there dying, your brother-in-law's there dying. You want to give them CPR, I say good. You're probably doing the right thing. And it could save their life.
Even if you don't know what you're doing, listen up. You take 2 fingers of your right hand, put it on their sternum, and then lay your hand directly next to that. Put your right hand over top of your left hand, and straight arms. Lock your elbows. 30 chest compressions. Now you want to do it about 100 times a minute. So that's 2 times a second, maybe. Fast. Now it's not uncommon to be giving somebody CPR and crack their rib cage. So don't freak out if that happens. It may happen. There's a good likelihood that that's going to happen. So just warning there. Right. They don't usually talk about that in the CPR classes, but that's something that may happen. That's
it. I wasn't even going to get into CPR all that much because, like I said, you make that airway clear, but you heard it.
The best situation with CPR, the most likely situation that you're going to really help somebody is if they drowned, got water in their lungs, electrocution, or a heart attack.
Right.
Aside of that, it's usually
another problem,
another cause that
right.
is.
Well, that all sounds right. So, next thing we got M.A.R., respiration. Now, this is where we're talking about punctured lung, that kind of thing. So, what we're doing there, now you noted I had you check all the extremities and obvious bleeds in the torso. Right. But I didn't really go through feeling the body. So that's our next step for respiration. You're going to want to take your hand and, in a lot of the kung fu, they have that tiger claw kind of, where you basically bend that, top knuckle of your fingertips. Exactly. And you're just going to rake their chest from top to bottom.
Okay.
I hate to say it, with women, you want to kind of get under the breast there and all the way down. People aren't offended that you touch their boob when they're dying. Unconscious and dying. And you're going to be okay. Just go ahead and check everywhere because you can miss stuff. So you're going to want to rake down and feel for any punctures. Because honestly, punctures in the lung, stuff like that, sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. And with the adrenaline and everything else, you might not catch it. So you're going to feel. Then you're going to need to tip the body over and check the back. So the way you're going to do this, we're assuming they're laying flat on the back when you're approaching them. So you're going to take the opposite ankle from you, put it over the other ankle. That's going to change the weight dynamic. It's going to make it that you can move the 300-pound guy without having a big problem. And then you want to grab, like, in their pocket, their opposite pocket from you, opposite front pocket. And you're going to kind of grab them and pull them towards you, but you're really just pulling them up on their side. Right. And then you're going to rake their back. You're feeling for a puncture. Hopefully in your trauma kit that we're going to tell you how to pack, you're going to have some kind of chest seal. Chest seals are huge, but as Kevin was telling us a couple weeks ago, you can make a chest seal out of just about anything. Right in front of me, I have an awesome sticker. Would make a great chest seal. Preferably something clean. But again, let's just get them patched up and fluids not leaking out. It's going to make a huge difference if you can keep their lung from collapsing. Right. Again, same thing. If mysteriously we come across another bleed somehow that we overlooked, you're going to go back to, step 1 with that and keep moving. Now, the next thing, we're going to talk about circulation. Now, circulation, I got a cool trick for you. You remember in the old movies, they used to, you watch them take their pulse and they're there for 10 seconds and, oh, it's really faint. I don't know. Maybe they're alive. Maybe they're dead. Your heart's pounding through your chest because you're in a traumatic, you may have just been involved in a car accident with these people or, whatever. You come up on a big, scary situation. somebody's shooting at you, whatever, your heart's pounding out of your chest. Well, guess what? All you need to do to check if their heart's beating is touch their forehead and with your thumb, and it's going to turn white. And when it goes back to red, turns out their heart's beating.
Okay.
Maybe they have darker skin. Things are weird. You can't really tell. Go to their fingernail. Pinch their fingernail. It'll go white. And then it'll go back to, kind of a purplish red, and it'll make sense. So that's really all you have to do. You can save some time there. And then H, our last step, is hypothermia. Now, we ripped off clothes, whatever we had to do to get to treating whatever, we need to cover them back up. Hopefully, again, if you got that trauma bag I told you about, you're going to have some kind of thermal blanket you can throw on them. Maybe somebody's got a coat, somebody's got a blanket. Maybe, find something to cover them up. That's the bottom line. You want to warm people up.
And even in warm temperature, even if it's not cold, with blood loss comes shock. And
exactly.
Shock will
It can be
will make
90
you cold.
degrees outside, and you're going to want to put a blanket on them if they lost blood.
Right.
And it really makes a big difference on how your body can handle it. You also, some of the other things, that's basically the steps. The last thing you're supposed to do is, as they're laying on their back in front of you, you take the arm closest to you and you make like a chicken wing, where they go up so that their fist is like
head.
punching the top of their head. And then you're going to tip them up on their side. This is in case they start throwing up or coughing, whatever.
Right.
Also, this is kind of a universal symbol for EMTs in that, hey, this person's been checked when they're in this position. So you're going to do that, and then you're going to go to the next victim. And you just kind of go through. You guys can figure out the triage on your own. I don't need to tell you about where to start and whatever. That's, beyond the scope of what I'm going to talk about today. But you're just going to kind of go through the steps like that. And I got to tell you, the other thing I'd like to mention is calmness is the key. When people are all upset and, oh, you're going to die, dude, it doesn't look good. You should start saying your last rites. Let's pray to, that's not going to help. You need to tell people, you know what? It's good. I'm here. The medical professionals are coming. You need to focus on being, being
Keeping
healthy.
them calm.
They talked about, they did a study in England when I took this class. We were talking about it that, they had people focus on not bleeding before they had surgery. And they were like, imagine your capillaries kind of, tight and not, open and bleeding and just no blood and whatever. And they said that during the surgery, the people who were told to focus on it bled like 50% less than the people who didn't. So your mind is a powerful thing. And you guys can really, help things out by helping people put their mind in the right place. They talk about, like women preparing for childbirth and like that. Being in the right mental state is going to help things. And you know what? Anybody freaking out, it's not going to help anything. Their heart rate's up. They're excited. They're, going. It's not going to help you. And, sometimes I also didn't address, sometimes you're going to have to restrain these people as you're trying to help them. Just grab whoever you can around or just do the best you can. Or maybe you let them wear themselves out. I mean, you do what you got to do. People can lose a fair amount of blood. Believe it or not, you can lose up to a gallon of blood and still survive. I'm not saying you're going to fight, back in the thing here, but I'm saying you can, keep, it doesn't have to be the end. So
yeah, a gallon's quite a bit too.
And well, that's it. I mean, I know when we did the training, the guy took a gallon jug and he's just pouring it on the ground while we're talking. And he's like splashing it and talking. He's like, we've been standing here 5 minutes and this is pouring and I still have enough blood that it's going to be okay. And he also was making a point about, look at how much blood is on the ground. So when you come up and see somebody with the big puddle of blood, it doesn't mean it's too late.
Right.
It might be, but that doesn't mean just give up. You kind of want to, whatever. So I was going to I'm going to point you guys in the right direction, kind of having your own trauma bag. I'm going to put a link in the show notes. It's contingency, or actually it's CON10GENCY.com. And they sell the trauma bags. Now, you know what? They're a lot of money. They're $150.
Ooh, that is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. So I'm going to tell you what I think is essential. If you want to shop around, get that stuff on Amazon or whatever, you decide what it's worth to you. I have one of these bags, and I carry it in my work truck all day long. Because, you know what, I never know when I'm going to come up on an accident. Mm-hmm. I never know when I'm going to be in an accident, and I'm going to have to put a tourniquet on my own leg.
Yeah.
You know what? Because you can't count on the rest of the world.
And I've been in maybe 2 or 3 situations where it was a serious medical issue, and none of those times it was something expected.
Right, and that's it.
It's never when you're never planning on coming across somebody or somebody you're with getting seriously injured.
Now, I mean, some of the SWAT guys I work with have actually carry a pouch on their ankle. You know how you have guys with their handcuffs or an extra gun on your ankle? I know guys that carry a little trauma kit that have, some of these items I'm going to tell you about right there, on their side. Mm-hmm. And you just kind of, you know what? I mean, it's somebody's life, Mm-hmm. And if you can make the difference, I don't know. I mean, isn't that what being a prepper is? Being prepared to deal with something? Having a trauma bag, even if it's just, all right, it's in my work van, so I'm in the driveway and I'm out with the hatchet and I cut my hand and it's, gushing, artery, whatever, I got a tourniquet right there. Right. Some guys have, the barn's way out from the house and they have a small trauma bag.
Out in the barn.
And you know what? Maybe the tourniquet in your bag is an old seatbelt that you cut out of a car you were taking to the scrapyard. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be the fancy stuff, but you should have something. And maybe it's not quick clot gauze. Maybe you just have gauze and an Israeli bandage.
Right.
Maybe you have an old T-shirt and some clean gauze that you can stick in there and wrap with a T-shirt. Mm-hmm. Whatever your level of, commitment is, all right. But so I really like, they call them like IFAC or PFACs in the military. And it was just, FAC is first aid kit. Right? Mm-hmm. It's not a complicated secret mystery. The I stands for individual, or some websites it says improved first aid kit. Mm-hmm. You decide what it means. I'm not going to argue with you. I don't care. PFAC is supposed to be like personal first aid kit. I know in the military they kind of taught you with those bags that that's yours. It's meant for treating you. And when you come up on the guy whose leg's half blown off, you should be grabbing his bag and squaring him away with it. Mm. So you're still ready to go for you. Whatever. Use your judgment on that. Basically, what I have in mind is it's soft, wide Gen 3 tourniquets. Now, Gen 3 tourniquets, they're one of the newer. They're nice and easy. You just fold it on. It's got the nice, plastic pen that you whip it up with. It's all good. Whatever. You can buy those on eBay or Amazon for between $19 and $29. Again, there's other tourniquets. Whatever you buy, just make sure it's at least an inch wide. Mm-hmm. And that's crucial to, it working. I know with us that when we did the training, they were really big on try it. Put the tourniquet on, tighten it down, and feel what it feels like. Because when you have a tourniquet cinched on you, you're like, oh, God, that hurts. Stop. You've gone too far. Usually it's like a little bit further than that is where you want to be. And if you've done it before, especially with trained people who know, then you can confidently tell the next people, hey, no, it's all right. This is how it's supposed to be. You're not going to die. You're not going to lose your leg. It's going to be okay, And just that reassurance, and by you having the confidence, kind of having done it before, and, most of us know some kind of EMT guy, you should probably have somebody you can check it out with. Mm-hmm. Say, hey, put a tourniquet on me, show me what it's like, you know? And then you get a better feel for it. So you got to have a tourniquet. I buy, it's the one I have says Law Enforcement Z-Fold Combat Gauze Quick Clot. I know that's a big freaking name, whatever. It's basically rolled up gauze with that quick clot material in there, so it's going to clot up the blood. 4-inch trauma bandages I have in mind, again, to put on top. I have those high fin vented chest seals.
Mm-hmm.
I have a gauze roll, again, that's to, you know, it's a yard of it that I can wrap. What else? I have a thermal blanket. I have exam gloves. And I have EMT shears. Mm-hmm. Now, I say I have EMT shears. They're not actually in my bag because turns out you can't fly on a plane with EMT shears. You might stab somebody in the neck, whatever. I use mine kind of on the go. I've taken it places, whatever. I always got the Leatherman on my side if I have to cut somebody's pants off, whatever. You guys use your judgment on that. Mm-hmm. Now, those are what came with it when I bought it. I actually added a second tourniquet. Like I said, you want to double it up. But I have no problem if you have one and then you got a minute, you go grab a second one out of a seatbelt or whatever. Next, I added a headlamp. Turns out to be able to see when things are going on. Now, a lot of like the cop guys, they all got the flashlights and whatever. But I got to say, when you're in there and doing stuff with your hands, it's nice to have your hands free. To be able to, you know, really do what you're doing and the light just be there. So that's kind of a bonus I added. The other thing, glasses. Again, this is more... the guys with experience are the ones who told me about this. And bottom line, you flip over a body and all of a sudden blood's just squirting. It always seems to get in your eye. Mm-hmm. And then you're getting shots because
God knows what's
knows.
in that
you know,
blood.
People who are in gunfights, you know, they're that kind of people.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's something you want to think about. Maybe some glasses, even if it's just your sunglasses when you're doing it. I know that kind of sucks and they can get in your way. Then prepare, you know, then have some, you know, proper glasses. But that's what I got. Now, I'm not an EMT. I'm not a master guy, but I was trained and I was taught how to do it. This is the way I was taught. I was taught by SWAT guys. I don't know, you know, who you guys have. And I'm sure there's EMTs and everybody out there who have all kinds of opinions that I'm wrong and I don't know everything and they were taught a different way. But you know what? This is better than nothing. And if you know a better way, then I say do it. Mm-hmm. Do it your better way. And if you want to put some videos and put something together or you know the great training video that I should be talking about, send me a link. I'll throw it on our stuff. I'll happily put that stuff up for you. It's no problem. But that's what I got. That's what I recommend.
You know what? When I was doing the, you know, looking up things for the getting ready for the show, which I found, which is kind of interesting. Probably not going to ever come up. But eggs, the egg membrane. You know that membrane inside the shell.
Yes.
That actually clots blood. If you take that, peel that off of the shell, and put that over a cut, it's going to help clot that up a lot faster than
and they'll get
anything else.
salmonella or whatever?
Well, salmonella is like 1 in 20,000 chance. So you might get salmonella, but it's not very likely.
It's better than bleeding to death.
It's better than bleeding to death. But,
right.
You know, I mean, if you don't have bandages, you probably won't have an egg with you
I do have a raw egg in my pocket.
I just thought it was interesting, you know, that's it.
Right.
Now, I wanted to talk quickly. This isn't really a trauma, but I wanted to talk about, I did a little bit of research on self-treating a concussion.
All right, what do you got?
So, you know, first, let's talk real quick about how to diagnose a concussion.
Okay.
Problem keeping your eyes open. If you're unconscious, that might be a pretty
That's a good sign.
A good sign. Confusion, drowsiness.
I am sometimes confused.
Hard time understanding speech. Loss of balance. Weakness of your limbs. Problem seeing, painful headache that won't go away. vomiting, or deafness or bleeding from one or both ears. So, if you have those symptoms, any of those symptoms, and you can't access medical help, how do you treat a concussion?
How do you treat a concussion?
First, you're going to want to do a cold compress to the area that was hit.
All right.
Just to reduce swelling, right? You're going to want to... no anti-inflammatory drugs. That means no ibuprofen, no aspirin, no alcohol, no recreational drugs. Don't, do some coke if you have a concussion. I mean, that seems pretty self-evident, but I don't know who's listening to this.
Right.
Rest. You want to avoid stressful situations. So basically, you're going to want to, put something cold on that area, reduce the swelling, put the person in the dark, let them rest. No contact sports for 3 weeks. It was very specific about that for some reason.
3 weeks.
But don't do any boxing for a couple weeks if you've had a concussion. So that's pretty much it with that. I've dealt with people with concussions. I've never actually had a concussion that I know of.
No, we were just talking about this a minute ago, and I think I actually once.
Yeah?
I definitely woke up unconscious.
Oh, well,
so that constitutes
probably
a
concussion. Yeah.
All right. Turns out I was kind of a dick in high school.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe it was junior high.
Junior high. Everyone was a dick in junior high.
Yeah, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently I pissed off the athletic types because I'm not as athletic or awesome as them.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe my not caring attitude. I don't know what it was. But apparently I'm walking down the hall, and then I wake up on the floor with my head bleeding.
Mm.
And I'm like, what the? And apparently somebody ran up beside me and smashed my head into a locker and then just right down. And that was, I was a rocker through and through, so I had the long hair.
Right.
So there's like a big blood smear across. It looked like you dragged a mop through blood on the floor. And I get up and I look at that, and I'm like, huh. And I just walk into the classroom where I was going. It's like right next to me. I was almost there. And I just sit down and I'm like, aw. And then some other kid was like, dude, you got to go to the nurse. You got a problem. And I was like, yeah. And, it was just kind of like that, just like out of it. Mm-hmm. And then apparently the nurse was
that would
brilliant.
Be the confusion.
Called my parents and were like, yeah, you got to take him to a doctor. But she handled it by putting a Band-Aid on top of my hair.
On top of the hair?
It was like, you're good, don't even worry about it. So, I mean, maybe
I've
that's what
dealt with
the
some
nurse
school
training
nurses
does.
that have been, very competent, but it doesn't sound like that was the one.
That wasn't the one? All right, I'm just checking. But that was my concussion experience I thought I'd add. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a jerk. I don't know. All right, but you were going to say, sorry, before I distracted you.
No, that's basically it.
Right.
But concussions, even a little knock on the head can give you a concussion. And, it's not really something to play around with, concussions. You definitely want to seek medical help if you get a concussion. And, sometimes I've been hit in the head with a claw hammer. I've been knocked in the head with 2x4s.
I feel like I've hit people in the head with a claw hammer.
I've never gotten a concussion. But, even a small knock sometimes in the right spot can do it. All you have to do is jiggle that brain a little bit. And that's it, man. So,
Not bad.
Yeah, that's basically all I got about concussions there. So if you want to hit us up, let us know what if you've got any great first aid tricks or stories about situations you've been in. Let us know. If you've got any advice that you want us to talk about, let us know. I think you may or may not have noticed that Chuck has not been yawning at all.
You guys saw that?
This show.
All right. And why is that?
We've got
because we actually are not
some
drinking beer for an episode. And we had a buddy of ours, Don, send some coffee our way.
Seabag Locker Coffee.
Now,
military guys got together.
now
We're tired of it. I know
they're all Navy guys.
Yeah, I know I was on a Navy ship for many years, and the coffee was always terrible.
It
So
was
that might
terrible.
kind of inspire you to do something about it. These guys got to work. They got some really great coffee, and we've been drinking it tonight, and I gotta say, it's fantastic.
Fantastic. So it's three guys, well, three people. It's Don, his wife Penny, and guy Bob. Bob's the roast master. Been doing it for 25 years, I think. And it shows, right?
Vietnam vet,
hardcore. And, yeah, so they've been doing it a while. Don's an ET, like I was. Actually, he's an officer now, but started out ET. So you know it's hardcore, right? We got to, badass, right? Now, one of the things that struck us with these guys is their badass logo. Now, they got a skull, a beard, and a pipe. I don't know what else you'd want in a logo.
conning wheel on there, the whole 9 yards, man.
Badass.
Right.
Now, you can check them out. Now, you want to get their coffee. They have like 10 different flavors.
Right. Different blends, different
we're trying
different
ones out, so we're going to, kind of work through it and give you some feedback as we go through. Tonight we were drinking the Patriot Blend, and I got to say, I'm feeling a little patriotic. I'm liking it. So, you guys want to see what they got? Check them out. Head over to seabaglockercoffee.com. Now, Seabag, you spell it, like a sea bag, SEABAG, lockercoffee.com. Otherwise, anything else, Kevin?
No, if you want to email us, you can email us at preppingbadass at gmail.com.
preppingbadass@gmail.com. I'm going to put a link to the coffee in the show notes because
excellent. You
guys, if you support people who send us coffee, you just make us happier.
Right.
That's the bottom line. They like making coffee. We like drinking coffee.
Yeah. If there are any vets out there that make bourbon, let me know.
You'd be in for that? No, but actually, some excellent coffee. And
it really is.
Really, you got to support the people that are like you. Because if I'm going to give my money, it ain't going to be to Starbucks. That's what I can tell you. So, with that, stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.